basically, the people who were the owner of these karkhanas had now become the workers in that very karkhana, because the ownership has changed. As I had told you, uh, many people, especially Muslim gentry, hmm, who were targeted after 1857, they were all actually targeted, and these very people became underprivileged. So there was a lot of reconfiguration in the wake of 1857. So the owner became the worker, and the people from working class had become the owner, because the places which had so far belonged to the Muslim gentry class, when these were all seized from them, confiscated from them, these very places were auctioned off. These very places were sold off to people, especially to Jains, Baniyas, Marwadis, and the trading merchant class of the India, who were largely Hindu. So, there was also some sort of religious uh, privileging of one group over the other group, which led to a serious repercussion in the long run. We will not talk about that, but I'm just talking about that how the very people who used to be privileged have now become underprivileged. The people who used to be administrator, the people who used to dispense justice, are now feeling compelled to find one or other kind of livelihood to eke out some sort of living. Otherwise the very existence was under crisis. So this was some sort of existential crisis. This is one example. Another thing which I would like to bring up in this discussion is that even the social habits and the cultural landscapes uh, were changing. But before I discuss, I would like to just make use of phrase that you can say that this was a kind of transition from karkhana to factory. Factory basically implies it is a large scale industry where the manufacturing activity is not of small scale. It implies employment of capital intensive machineries, mechanization of the labor. And since it was not mechanization at very advanced level, there was still a great need for the labor. So factory also implies the employment of large number of labor, which is how the notion of factory is different from karkhanas, which were small units of the manufacture, which were small manufacturing units, which were operational, especially during Mughal periods. So people actually used to operate from there, and they used to play a very important role in the pre-modern or Mughal economy. But these were slowly, getting dismantled, and these were all being replaced by a new form of, a factory, which was based on the capital intensive machines, and which was also based on employment of large number of laborers. So this was giving rise to a new economy. This is one example. Another example is that there is no doubt that even prior to the arrival of the Europeans, there used to be money lending class. There used to be indigenous way of lending and collection of this debt by the traditional money lending classes. But when these Britishers came, the new form of banking started creeping into the system. So this was very much perceptible in Delhi as well. I mean, this had become very conspicuous in places like Calcutta, Madras, Bombay, which were prime examples of colonization. So all colonial forms of the banking, especially in the field of the finances, these were all becoming very obvious. But Delhi also joined the league And here also you can notice that these kind of institutions, the bankings, joint stocks, and the floating of the shares, which is very much part of the joint stock activity, especially when they had decided to develop a railway line. They wanted to invite investors. Huh? And the guaranteed interest was promised to the investors. And so investors from within India and from abroad had come forward, and they had taken advantage of the new situation. So these were the new economic activities which were very common in European places, were now becoming common in colonized spaces. So something of this kind can also be located in the history of China, in Japan, in all places wherever the Britishers or the Europeans had gone. So the joint stock insurance company, because they were very conscious of the damages. They were very conscious of the loss, because these were all traders. So they would always think in terms of the loss and profit. So they would always try to think of mitigation of the losses. That is how they had become highly preoccupied with the idea of insurance against the loss, which was very likely in the course of doing trade. So that is how the insurance, it became a institutional. It itself became a business form, and this was becoming very common across all these, places wherever they were going. So Delhi also became a place where insurance activities became very brisk. Is it clear to everyone? हेलो.
Yes.
मैं थोड़ा हिंदी में बोलना
Yes, sir.
चाहूँगा कि देखिए, एक तरफ राजनीतिक संरचना में बदलाव आ रहा है, हाँ, और एक तरफ सामाजिक संरचना में बदलाव आ रहा है। उस समाज में और उस राजनीतिक व्यवस्था में जहाँ पे एक समुदाय खास बहुत ही प्रिविलेज्ड हुआ करता था, जिसके पास काफ़ी ताकत हुआ करती थी, मजबूरन 1857 के बाद जब वो टारगेट किए गए, तो वो मजबूर हो गए पलायन के लिए। काफ़ी लोग मारे गए और काफ़ी लोग अपना जिंदा रहने के लिए छोटे-मोटे काम करने लगे, जो उन्होंने कभी सोचा नहीं था कि ऐसा उनको करना पड़ेगा। तो कोई जूता बनाने लगा, कोई साफ-सफाई का काम करने लगा। जो मालिक हुआ करता था, वो उसी कंपनी में मज़दूर हो गया। क्योंकि जो ओनरशिप का जो पैटर्न है, वो बदल गया। जो प्रॉपर्टीज़ जो सीज़ की गई थी, जो संपत्तियाँ उनसे जब्त कर ली गई थी, उसका रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हुआ। बहुत ही वॉयलेंट था वो और बहुत ही अनफ़ेयर था। हाँ, बहुत मनमानी नज़र आता है उसमें, आप यदि बहुत गौर से देखेंगे। चूँकि वो एक सोशल स्ट्रक्चर को बदल रहा है, सामाजिक संरचना में बदलाव आ रहा है और वो कहीं और नहीं, वो दिल्ली में हो रहा है। दिल्ली उसका एक बहुत बड़ा नमूना है, बहुत बड़ा उदाहरण है। और एक तरीके का सोशल इंजीनियरिंग है। हाँ, दिस इज़ अ काइंड ऑफ सोशल इंजीनियरिंग व्हिच द ब्रिटिश ऑफिशियल्स एंड द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट इज़ डूइंग। और उसका एक पर्पस है, एक सेंस ऑफ पर्पस है, और दे आर गाइडेड बाय दैट सेंस ऑफ पर्पस, जिसको आप इमीडिएट कंटेक्स्ट में नहीं समझ सकते हैं। लेटर ऑन, somewhere down the line, you will see that this ultimately led to the rise of communalism। क्योंकि इसमें क्या हुआ कि मुस्लिम समुदाय के चंद लोग ही थे जो इसका फायदा उठा सके, लेकिन एक बहुत बड़ा व्यापारी वर्ग था, खास करके जैन, मारवाड़ी, हिंदू, जिनको ये जमीनें दे गई थी, जिनको ये दे दी गए थे। और ब्रिटिशर्स देमसेल्फ, यूरोपियंस देमसेल्फ हैड टेकन ओवर ए मैसिव ट्रैक्ट, हाँ, साइजेबल ट्रैक्ट ऑफ दिस प्लेसेस, और उन्होंने वहां पे अपनी दुकानें चालू कर दी थी। स्पेशली इफ यू लुक एट चांदनी चौक, चांदनी चौक, तो इन चांदनी चौक many of these shops had been taken over by the Europeans, and these people had started their own sorts of the shops, and they had started naming these shops after European names। तो आपको ये सब काफी नजर आएगा। सो दीज आर द चेंजेस विच नारायणी गुप्ता इज टॉकिंग अबाउट। एंड interestingly, what you also get to see in the course of this time, that now a large number of hotels are cropping up, Hmm. Why? Because people from Europe are coming in large number, and so hotel is where they are settling down in the first place before settling down for good, or for a longer period of time. So the hotel has now become a new element in the economy. So you must underline that beginning of the hotels and increasing the number of the hotel is one thing which became a very prominent activity under the aegis of the British government. Another thing which you will see that yes, Gunjana,
Yes, sir. Sir, I have a question.
yes.
Sir, you said that all these changes were happening in Delhi, and then we also see that the Delhi walas, they were all against these changes. So, what was their reaction towards all these social and cultural changes?
See, that is how you will bring up the Gale Minot's discussion, where the very places and the very people who were a result of the British government. So these very people, they were expected to act in accordance with the British scheme. But these very people who were newly educated and who were product of the British institutions did not act in accordance with the British scheme. Rather than working in tandem with their scheme, they actually started emphasizing the revival of Delhi culture because of a strong sense of nostalgia which they had, because of a very strong attachment to the past and the culture. Because Delhi, as I had told you, and even it is evident from this work, that this was a place where a different range of activities were part of everyday structure of the life. As you must have come across that people used to deal with the pigeons, which we call kabutar baji. Kabutar baji means dispersing the seeds and expecting that the pigeon will come, and so that used to be part of the imagery of Delhi prior to 1857. And the people used to enjoy kite flying. So kite flying used to be a part of the recreational activities. Mushairas used to be part of the recreational activities. And people actually used to do a lot of poetry and poetry recitation. But now this was all being replaced. So the very people who were actually product of the British institution, which is evident from the Gale Minots, like Master Ramchandra, Sayyid Ahmad Khan, and other more people. So these people were expected to popularize and carry forward the British tradition, European tradition. But they, on the contrary, these very people became the revivalist of the Delhi's tradition. So there is a no doubt, there is a resistance. When these changes are taking place, one cannot rule out the evidences of resistance uh, which were pervasive across Delhi, across classes. Is it clear, Gunjan?
Yes, sir.
No doubt there is a resistance, but the changes these are taking. I mean, these changes which are taking place, these are taking a firm foothold, and these are now becoming very obvious, and they are actually taking root. And it is taking deeper root. They are becoming deeper, and now they are trying to firm up their foundation which they had laid. So the banking, joint stock, coming of the hotels, and new taste. For example, now the people, especially the European population, they are rather than engaging with the mushaira, rather than dealing with these pigeons, kabutar baji, kite flying, they are actually dealing with the ball. You know what is ball? आप लोग को बॉल का कंसेप्ट पता है क्या? जो बॉल रूम होता है, व्हाट डू दे डू इन द बॉल रूम? द ब्रिटिशर्स, यूरोपियंस. हेलो? नहीं?
Yes.
हाँ,
So
हाँ. क्या क्या है वो? What? हाँ. Yes, please say again. Just a minute. Someone has given a message. Yes, yes. Chirag has replied. It has actually it has got to do with the dance form. So see, the ball. You must have seen how actually in a very large space, in enclosed space, these European people, they play a certain sort of music, their classical music or their jazzy form of music, and they all dance to the tune. So their dance form is very different from what we actually do. So that is what is now replacing. Just a minute. I will download the. Just a minute. Hmm. So the ball, the Diwane Khas, which was located within the fort, that particular space was meant for something else. Hmm. Where special and the privileged people from the court used to gather, and they used to conduct their religious or political rituals, which was integral to their everyday structure of the life. But when these people came, the Britishers came, they occupied that place and they appropriated in accordance with their aesthetic sense. So they transformed that Diwani Khas into the ballroom. So where they would play their music and they would dance. So something like this also happened in the field of the sports. So now you must have seen that these Britishers, they would play the golf, they would play the tennis, and they would play the cricket matches. So these were the new activities, new cultural and the things which were replacing the traditional forms, and many people from within India were also becoming part of it. Hmm. Undoubtedly, there must have been resistance. People must have, held on to the traditional forms. Simultaneously, these very people were also trying to participate in this new range of activities. That is one thing. Another thing, it is a very symbolic but very important. The fort, which was actually Indian, when it was confiscated from the Bahadur Shah Jafar, when it was confiscated from the Indians, this very fort was, taken over by the Britishers, and the very Indian who had access to this fort uh, had now a very limited access to the fort. Only a few number of people were allowed as per their convenience, and these people were also made to pay the fees for having access to the fort. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Uh, we will have to understand all this. Another thing which Gunjan had anyway talked about. Anyway, yes, Aftar, please say.
Yes, sir. Just wanted to ask ki what are you discussing exactly? I
Oh,
just
okay.
joined. Sorry.
Okay, okay. No, basically, what I am discussing today, I am discussing. I thought that you are already here. I am actually trying to discuss Narayani Gupta's work, her essay, which is part of her book, and this is called the Portrait of the City. So, what is she trying to convey by dealing with this essay? She is trying, in the first place, to demonstrate that there is a change in the social and political structure. And in the old traditional social political structure, uh, the people who used to be very important, the people who used to be close to the center stage of the governance or the administration, these people had now been decentered, and they had been actually marginalized. And so Narayani Gupta is basically using two French phrases. One is boule versement of the class, the other
सर
is nouveau pauvre. हाँ कौशल.
सर एक निवेदन था आपसे।
हाँ
प्लीज जो भी तक आपने पढ़ाया है उसे एक बार आप हिंदी में जरूर बता दीजिएगा
हाँ हाँ
ताकि हमें समझ आए।
हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. So Avtar,
धन्यवाद।
actually this is what I'm trying to tell you कि how this change in the structure is becoming evident from. So what is she doing actually? She's trying to give example of people who are now poor. So they were not poor by birth, they were not poor by history. So these very people who are now poor, which we call is a new poor, nove pove. Nove pove is the term which she is using. She is basically trying to show that these poverty-stricken faces of the women and children, Mughal children, these people actually used to be very important when the Mughal was in the power. But with the arrival of the British East India Company and with the victory in 1857, these very people were dispossessed from their power, and now they are so poor that they are now ready to do the menial work. They are ready to do the manual work. They are ready to. So owner has now become the worker, and somebody else has now become the owner, either from the from within the other community, or maybe from the other non-Muslim community, or the Europeans have become the power. So this is what she's talking about, and she's also talking about the new forms of economy, which is now becoming an integral part of Delhi. What are these? These are basically joint stocks. These are the insurance companies, floating of the shares, bringing of the railway, railway companies, because Britishers are now trying to lay the British, the railway lines, and she is also talking about that. She is also talking about the population. That in the first place there is a there is a displacement, so there is a decline, but then there is a resurgence. There is a increase in the population after some time. So she is also trying to see how, by auctioning off the land of the displaced people who were largely of Muslim gentry class, they actually engaged in the social engineering, whereby they could marginalize the old gentry class. Is it clear, Aftar?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
सो आई मीन कौशल, मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ कि जो नारायणी गुप्ता हैं, वो अपने चर्चा को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए दो फ्रेंच शब्दों का यूज किया है। वो है, एक है बुले वर्समा। मैंने स्पेलिंग लिखा था आफ्तार, इफ यू सी इन द चैट बॉक्स, इन टुडेज चैट बॉक्स आई हैव ड्रॉप्ड दिस टू फ्रेसेस, बुले वर्समा ऑफ द क्लास एंड देन न्यूवो पोवे। तो कौशल, इसमें क्या है कि वो इन दो शब्दों को ध्यान में रखते हुए ये कोशिश कर रही हैं कि जो सामाजिक संरचना में और जो राजनीतिक संरचना में जो बदलाव आया है अंग्रेजों के आने की वजह से, जिसमें शक्तिशाली ताकतवर वर्ग अब शक्तिशाली नहीं रहा है, वो इतना ज़्यादा कमज़ोर हो गया है कि वो सड़कों पे आ गया है, और अपने जिंदा रहने के लिए वो कोई भी काम करने के लिए तत्पर है। तो अब वो वहां पे काम कर रहा है जहां पे वो खुद मालिक हुआ करता था, जहां पे वो राजा हुआ करता था। तो राजा अब गरीब हो गया है, और जो कारखाना जो था, वर्कशॉप, एक ट्रांजिशन है। देयर इज अ ट्रांजिशन फ्रॉम कारखाना इकोनॉमी टू द फैक्ट्री इकोनॉमी। हाँ, दिस इज एक्चुअली कैरेक्टराइज्ड बाय द कॉलोनियल इकोनॉमी, बिकॉज फैक्ट्री जो है वो मार्कर है, दैट इज अ मार्कर ऑफ मैसिव प्रोडक्शन। हाँ, दैट इज ऑल्सो एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ कैपिटल इंटेंसिव इंडस्ट्री, जहाँ पे आप मशीन को एम्प्लॉय कर रहे हैं लार्ज प्रोडक्शन के लिए, क्योंकि आप छोटे, यू आर नॉट केटरिंग टू few people, you are not catering to a small neighborhood or a small group. Now these factories, the purpose of these factories are actually to cater to the larger market, जो इंडिया में नहीं है, वो पूरा दुनिया में है। समझ में आ रहा है कौशल? हेलो, चलिए, आई विल कैरी फॉरवर्ड। सो बेसिकली यू विल हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड। हाँ,
म्यूट।
हाँ, हाँ, ये जो रेलवे लाइन है, बिकॉज यू नो व्हाट डज लेइंग ऑफ रेलवे लाइन over Delhi, what does it mean actually? What does it imply? Hmm. it actually meant a lot because Narayani Gupta is giving a very good depiction of how this resulted in change of the landscape. See, before railway was introduced into Delhi, large number of people would actually cross Yamuna either via bridge or via or through the boats, and that is how they would land up in Delhi. And while doing this, they used to they used to meet Delhi from a particular direction, and that would always give a certain sort of imagery. So that is what Delhi was known for. So anyone entering from Yamuna would get that view of Delhi. That was no longer the case, especially when the railway was introduced, because railway was actually brought right, in the middle of the Delhi, and anyone coming out of Delhi would no longer see that imagery which was connected to the past of Delhi. Is it clear? हेलो.
Yes, sir.
हाँ, मैं ये बोलना चाह रहा हूँ कौशल, हिंदी की, जब रेलवे लाइन दिल्ली में लाई जाती है, उसका क्या मतलब होता है, ये आप इस बात से समझ सकते हैं कि रेलवे के आने के पहले, हाँ, प्रायर टू द इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ रेलवे लाइन, पीपल जो हैं, जो लोग हैं, वो खास करके वो लोग जो यमुना की तरफ से आते थे, तो वो लाल किला का जो पिछला हिस्सा है वो दिखता था। एक जो कंटूर्स है, जो रूपरेखा जो बोलते हैं ना, कि आप जब कभी बाहर से आते हैं तो एक आपको कंटूर्स नजर आता है, एक रूपरेखा नजर आती है, जिसमें आपको मीनारें दिख रही हैं, लाल कलर का दीवार दिख रहा है और बुर्ज दिख रहा है। एक खास तरीके का मेमोरी जो मनस पटल पे, जो आपका जो माइंड सेट पे, जो साइकी में एक जो इमेजेस डेवलप हो रहा है, वो हिस्टोरिकली बहुत ही डीप सीटेड है। अब वो जो डीप सीटेड इमेजरीज है उसको डिसमेंटल किया जा रहा है। That deep-seated imagery, which was part of our Delhi, was now dismantled. And how was this possible? This was made possible by introduction of railway. So now people who are coming to Delhi via railway are actually coming out of the railway station. And what are they seeing actually? They are seeing what these European companies have, conceived of. So what have they conceived of? They have conceived of churches, and they have made this railway station in a new Gothic structure style, and the name of the roads and the name of the places are in imitation of the Victorian Britain. तो आपको जो नाम मिलेगा उस पे पता चल लिखा है विक्टोरिया कुछ लिखा हुआ है। हाँ, आपको कुछ दिखेगा कि जो रोड का जो स्ट्रक्चर है, जो चौराहा बोलते हैं ना, स्क्वायर, राउंड अबाउट, सर्कल, इस तरह का जो टर्मिनोलॉजीज हैं, दीज आर एक्चुअली यूरोपियन इम्पोर्ट, है ना। सो अब ये नजर आ रहा है, अब लोग लाल किला का पिछला वाला दीवार नहीं देख रहे हैं, उसका मीनार नहीं देख रहे हैं, अब लोग चर्च देख रहे हैं। पीपल आर नाउ विटनेसिंग चर्च. So these are actually changes which were very remarkable when these European powers were present, and they were doing this in a very step by step manner. तो क्या हो रहा है? What is happening? They are trying to dismantle जो हमारा जो डीप सीटेड इमेज है, जो अंतर्निहित जो इमेजरीज हैं, जो जुड़े हुए थे, अब वो बदल रहा है। आई विल मैं एक बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल दूंगा आप लोग को। आई विल गिव यू अ वेरी गुड एग्जांपल. दिस हैज got a lot to do with the cultural displacement and then replacement of those vacuum with the new elements. तो अभी जैसे मान लीजिए कि लेट मी गिव यू एन एग्जांपल. अभी हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ प्लेस, एक यूनिवर्सिटी है जवाहरलाल नेहरू यूनिवर्सिटी, हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ इट?
Yes, sir.
हाँ हाँ,
Of
इट
course,
इज,
sir.
हाँ, दिल्ली में है एक्चुअली में. एंड here actually this place actually used to be a bastion of the left leaning ideologies. In left leaning ideologies actually there was a, I mean that is how they claim, and that is what they say, that people had a freedom to express their views, express their differences. So this expression would not always take form of the text they would sometime draw the caricature. They would draw some sort of messages and would leave those messages, yeah, graffiti, and this would all be actually writ large over the walls. So if you visit, I'm not just talking about JNU, you visit any place, you will always come across, even in the classroom, you will notice that I do not know because now you are all sitting from and studying from the home. But in my time, people used to scribble a lot on the table, on their benches. तो कोई उसमें प्रपोज भी कर दे रहा है, समवन हु इज लाइकिंग, लड़का लड़की को पसंद करता है, लड़की लड़का को पसंद करता है, तो उसी में लिख दे रहा है. If the students are not liking the teacher, if they cannot actually confront the teacher, तो वहीं पे कुछ गलत लिख दे रहे हैं टीचर के खिलाफ. So these all sites actually, this used to be actually a part of the cultural cultural places. And तो क्या हुआ था, after a period of time these all places were bearing marks of the time. अब इमेजिन करो सम अथॉरिटेरियन कम, जैसा कि अभी जेएनयू में हुआ है कि द न्यू एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन हैज कम, एक्चुअली दे हैव डिफेस्ड. तो हिस्टोरिकली मतलब यहाँ पे कुछ कुछ दीवार पे 10-10 साल, 20-20 साल, 30-30 साल पुराने मैसेजेस थे. देयर यूज्ड टू बी मैसेजेस व्हिच वर एज ओल्ड एज 30 years old, 20 years old. These were all actually removed. These were all removed, and this is what was happening when these Britishers came. तो ये जो imageries हैं जो बहुत deep seated थी, which were actually articulating the past, which were direct connection with the past, ब्रिटिशर्स लोगों ने क्या किया एक्चुअली में, इन इमेजरीज को हटाना चालू कर दिया. सो दिस वाज सम सॉर्ट ऑफ cultural violence which they had engaged in, but it was not very obvious. It was very careful, very slow, and so slow that it gave rise to a new discipline altogether. And this discipline came to be regarded as the Orientalism, which is a study of Oriental culture, Oriental people, Oriental places, and the purpose which was, guiding the study of the Oriental people was to know so that you can rule them without undermining the, large British Empire. So the purpose of Orientalism was to sustain the, empire which was in making, because 1857 actually is a watershed event, because they learned that any event of this kind is very likely to undermine a structure which has taken a lot of energy. So they had become very cautious. So Orientalism is basically is an example of caution which they are exercising, and this caution is against the laws of the empire which they have built so far. And in this they are actually trying to understand, and they are trying to intrude. So this intrusion is no longer direct, it is very indirect, especially after 1857. Whatever this transaction and this contact which is taking place in the wake of 1857 is a very careful and it is very thoughtful. Uh, Delhi actually presents a very good case of it. So you kindly, I will not actually carry on much because it will be very tiring. Maybe in my next discussion, I will try to make a summary of it, uh, where we can all understand, the change in the social structure, change in the political structure, change in the economic structure, and change in the cultural structure, which had all taken place in Delhi. And Narayani Gupta has demonstrated all these with the examples. So she is giving example of the hotels, which were not actually part of the Indian culture, and she is giving example of the sports which were not part of the Indian culture, and she is also giving example of the dance. For example, the transformation of that Diwane Khas into the ballroom, which was not part of the Indian culture, and then introduction of the railway and beginning of the new financial institutions like joint stocks, insurance companies, and then new sorts of lending and collecting recollection of the debt. These were the new practices which were now becoming part of Indian economy. And even the products, because Delhi was known for producing a certain range of products. Some of them continued to operate as usual, but many of them had become less important. Now European goods had become far more important, because even Indians, along with the Europeans, had started taking keen interest in the European goods. So their market was expanding. So, in the light of all this, you can understand how Delhi was undergoing a serious change, which is not perceptible in the beginning, but it becomes very conspicuous as you come closer to take stock of all these small elements and the nuances of these changes. So that is how you understand, and this is what Narayani Gupta is talking about. So what I would do actually, I would just stop my today's discussion. Otherwise, it would be very tiring, because maybe in my next class I will try to recap, and then we will think of engaging you for the discussion. मैं एक बार थोड़ा संक्षेप में बोलना चाहूँगा अपने हिंदी छात्रों के लिए कि दिल्ली में जो बदलाव आया है वो शुरुआती दौर में उतना दृष्टिगोचर नहीं था, लेकिन बाद में वो बहुत ही तेजी से नजर आ रहा था। तो चाहे वो बैंकिंग का क्षेत्र हो, चाहे वो फैक्ट्री जिसको बोलते हैं ना, बड़े पैमाने का जो कारखाना होता है, ये जो ट्रांजिशन है फ्रॉम ट्रेडिशनल कारखाना, फ्रॉम ट्रेडिशनल वर्कशॉप टू फैक्ट्री, वेयर जहाँ पे बड़े पैमाने पे मशीन और लेबर को है ना का उपयोग किया जा रहा है, इस ट्रांजिशन को आपको देखना होगा। जो इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज हैं, इंश्योरेंस का मतलब होता है कि यूरोप में जो जो ट्रेडर क्लास थे, ये बहुत ही रिस्क टेकिंग क्लास था, जिसको एंटरप्रेन्योर बोलते हैं ना, दिस एंटरप्रेन्योरियल क्लास। ये क्लास एक्चुअली में बहुत रिस्क लेता था प्रॉफिट के लिए, तो इसमें लॉसेस बहुत होते थे। तो अपने लॉसेस को वो कम करने के लिए, या अपने लॉसेस को कंपनसेट करने के लिए, ये इंश्योरेंस का आइडिया वहां से आता है, और ये जल्द ही एक इंस्टीट्यूशनल फॉर्म ले लेता है विद इन फाइनेंस मार्केट। तो वो ढेर सारे कॉलोनीज में नजर आने लगा, वो दिल्ली भी उसका एक बड़ा पैमाना बन गया, एग्जाम्पल बन गया। और मनी लेंडिंग का जो प्रैक्टिसेस है, जो ट्रेडिशनल फॉर्म में हमारे यहाँ होता था, जो शाहूकार करते थे, दैट वाज रिप्लेस्ड बाय द इंस्टीट्यूशनल बैंक्स, विच वाज बिगन बाय दिस यूरोपियन एलिमेंट्स। इन्होंने चालू किया था, और यहाँ पे अब बॉल डांस हो रहा है, टेनिस खेला जाता है, क्रिकेट खेला जाता है। हाँ, और जो गार्डन भी हैं, जो बगीचे हैं, वहाँ पे जो ट्रेडिशनल जो हमारे यहाँ हुआ करते थे, उसमें भी तब्दीलियाँ आई हैं। हाँ, चेंजेस हैव टेकन प्लेस इन द लैंडस्केप। हाँ, ये जो पूरा सिटी स्केप है ना, गार्डनिंग का जो अरेंजमेंट है, जिसको हम लोग लॉन बोलते हैं ना, द वेरी आइडिया ऑफ लॉन। पहले लॉन नहीं होता था, अब लॉन आ रहा है। वहां पे बैठ रहे हैं, छतरी लगा हुआ है, कैनपी है ना, देयर इज अ कैनपी ओवरहेड, एक राउंड टेबल है, मैडम जिसको बोलते हैं ना, मैडम एंड जेंटलमैन, इस तरह का अब लैंडस्केप डेवलप हो रहा है। अराउंड द टेबल पीपल आर सिटिंग। हाँ, जो यूरोपियन जो लेडीज हैं, दे आर एक्चुअली सिटिंग विद द पर्टिकुलर काइंड ऑफ ड्रेस, उसमें गाउन आपको दिखेगा, कैप दिखेगा, जो विक्टोरियन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है। तो वो अभी धीरे 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 बहुत कॉमन होता जा रहा है। ठीक है, इज इट क्लियर टू एवरीवन?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Yes, sir.
So I just you guys take very good care, and I hope to see you on Monday.
Okay, sir.
हाँ
Okay, sir.
हाँ, चलो, बाय एवरीवन।
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome everyone, welcome everyone. Go and have a lunch.
Thank you, sir.
सर ब्रेक है सर, या
हाँ कौशल,
सर ये ब्रेक दे रहे हैं या लीव करें आप लोग?
नहीं अब लीव कर रहे हैं, आप आराम से जाइए आप लोग, अब मंडे को मिलते हैं।
सर पढ़ना
So
क्या?
Monday also we'll be discussing the same article.
हाँ हाँ, हम लोग इसी आर्टिकल को थोड़ा सा वी विल रिपीट, ताकि ये जो थोड़ा सा जो डाउट है ना, थोड़ा क्लियर हो जाए, और जो नॉलेज हमने गेन किया है आज के लेक्चर में, ये थोड़ा सा कंसोलिडेट हो जाएगा। जो पिक्चर क्लियर होना चाहिए, क्योंकि दिल्ली का हम सिर्फ एक एस्पेक्ट नहीं डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, वी आर डिस्कसिंग वेरियस एस्पेक्ट्स, है ना, सोशल, पॉलिटिकल, कल्चरल, इकोनॉमिक। ये जो एस्पेक्ट्स हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे हैं इन द लाइट ऑफ दिस एग्जांपल्स, उसको हम थोड़ा दोहराएंगे, ताकि ये क्लियर हो जाए, है ना, कि ऐसा क्या चीज है। ठीक है,
Okay, sir. Thank you.
हाँ, तो कौशल बात समझ में आई?
जी सर।
ठीक है, बाय एवरीवन, See you all on Monday.
recordings are always stored in Microsoft Stream platform.
तो कहाँ दिखेगा?
Meeting channel space में.
Stop recording. Stop.